Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Lagos, and everybody else out there.
Now, Rotus is not alone. He has Segun with him from ARM. Good morning, Segun.
Good morning, Lagos.
Good morning. Great to have you here. Now, Rotus, before I let you take over, I'll let people know that you can join the conversation through WhatsApp. 0809 444 0981 is the number. That's 0809 444 0981. On Twitter, we're live at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag BusinessExpress981.
Thank you so much, Ayo. Okay, so Lagos, as far as the markets are concerned, we're not really going to touch on that much this morning. I wanted us to hop into oil first. Segun, I just saw something on BBC a few minutes ago. Saudi Arabia is saying that as far as OPEC is concerned, they might have to continue their oil cuts to production for the rest of the year, for the second half of the year. There's also been talk about inventories still rising. Yeah, despite the U.S. sanctions on Venezuela and sanctions on Iran. Also, the United States now is the biggest oil producer in the world now. Well, I mean, what's happening? What are your thoughts on Saudi Arabia saying that these cuts for OPEC are going to have to continue?
So basically, when they agreed last year, that was in December, to take about under 1.8 of the market, what was expected is that they will still come together over the second half and decide if they should continue with that or not. So there was a joint committee meeting, I think it was last weekend. So they look at how the compliance level has been and how much they've been able to achieve with that. I think so. There were fallbacks. If you could recall, the like of Nigeria has not really met up with the cuts.
Right, that's correct.
Saudi Arabia has done a lot in that end to actually even exceed what they plan to cut. Then I think other players haven't even met up as much as Saudi Arabia has done. So what we are seeing in the market, you're seeing a lot of glut in the market. US is still ramping up production significantly. Oil inventories are adding up, gasoline inventories are adding up in the US. So basically, the impact of the cut is not really being felt much on prices. It's just stabilized price at a particular floor. So what they are looking at is something that actually push price higher. Say go to like around 70 or stay around that 70 for a while. Okay. So I guess that is why OPEC, Saudi Arabia is coming up to say this is likely to extend over second half, but it's actually expected.
Okay, look, with this is a question people have been asking. With America now being the top oil producer in the world now, and Russia is not a member of OPEC or America is not a member, does OPEC still have the same influence? Do you still think they have the same influence on oil prices as they used to, with all these non-members, with production from the non-member side still increasing?
Yeah, so I guess that's why they had to bring Russia online when they had to do that first cut in starting 2018, which started in 2018. If they had not got Russia on board, they wouldn't have been able to achieve anything. So like you mentioned, there is the cartel is actually losing its influence in a way, because previously if you had seen as much cut as about 1.8 million being taken off the market, you'd have seen the price actually soar higher, but we've not really seen that. But US is actually playing a good play, and I think they'll continue to put the power of OPEC, they'll continue to cap it at a particular level. But they still have a bit of influence in controlling prices, but not as much as
much. Yeah. Okay, all right, thanks for that. Okay, wait, I just got a personal message. Rotus, at least tell us whether the market was up or down. Okay, sorry, no vex. The market was down on Friday, 0.22%. 31,142 points is where the market closed. Market cap is at 11.6 trillion. I know who that person is, so sorry. So that's what the market was on Friday. Okay, so that's oil. Now, this is shout out to Yomi the Prof, one of our very frequent listeners who brought this up with our little group on WhatsApp. There's a bill, Segun, that apparently has been passed by the National Assembly. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. This is with regards to the National Housing Fund, and it's a new law. Again, President Buhari has not signed this. Yes, he has not signed this law. But let me just quickly run through some of the points on this new housing law that they've passed. So the key provisions of this bill that they've passed: mandatory 2.5% contribution of monthly income by employees earning minimum wage and above in the public and private sectors, 2.5% of income by self-employed individuals, 2.5% on cement, locally produced or imported, employers that to deduct and remit the contributions monthly, a penalty for non-compliance of up to 100 million naira for corporates and 10 million for individuals. It says sanctions include cancellation of operating licenses for banks, insurance companies, and PFAs for violations. They said withdrawals by contributors who have attained the age of 60 years or 35 years of service to be at an interest rate of 2%. This looks very, very heavy. Again, President Buhari has not signed this bill, but I think PwC, a couple of other tax consultants were writing about this. They weren't very bullish on this particular bill. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this bill they've passed here?
So when I saw it, I was wondering. I never heard it debated in the House.
Right.
So I
That's
don't know
another
how
thing.
it got to pass it
Yeah.
and it got to the president. I'm waiting for his assent.
Mm.
And so basically, this is actually just saying. So we currently have a NHI. I don't know which one, but I know they deduct it out of my salary every
Right.
month.
Gross, Abi.
Yeah, so I don't even know how that works. I've not even gotten a ticket or where that one even goes to. So you're not even introducing another layer of cost also. So basically, I think they are just trying to. The intention might be clear.
Yeah.
So we have housing deficit in Nigeria that they are trying to address. But pushing funds together is actually not going to address that upright. So you need to decentralize your land use act and like of that for you to even have people come into it. So when it even comes to registration of say real estate and the like of that, you need to make it flexible for people to come in. I think that's what will actually drive the housing growth they are looking for. But putting another layer of cost on them on citizens, I don't think it's actually the best way to go.
It's gonna work.
And it's quite stringent. It's actually a regressive tax.
Yeah.
Meaning that so even if you earn little, you still pay more than what somebody that is earning more than you will actually
Right.
pay.
So it's more on the lower income individuals
more
than
on
the
the lower
wealthier
income,
people.
more on them.
Yeah.
All right, just before we go on, we have some messages here on WhatsApp. Don't forget, you can send your WhatsApp messages to 0809 444 0981, whether in regards to this discussion or anything at all in the business world. Kingsley here says, good morning, Smooth FM crew. UBA declared a fantastic result last week. Do you consider it a good buy considering their promised dividend payout? With the bearish momentum experienced last week, what's your prediction for today on the stock?
You want us to predict the stock market today? Who is that from?
That's from Kingsley.
Kingsley, thank you for that message. Okay, let's jump right into it. So Kingsley is asking about, Segun, what are your thoughts on UBA's result?
Yeah, so UBA came out, it wasn't as fantastic as we thought. So they still maintained their 80 kobo, right? I think they had 65 kobo dividend. But so plus the interim they did, that's 85 kobo or thereabout.
For the year?
Yeah, for the year. So it wasn't really as good as we actually expected. So compared to their peers, they recorded a material decline in non-interest revenue.
Okay.
And that dragged overall performance down. If you look at full year, profit after tax only grew by about 2.4%. But if you go to Q4 standalone performance, it was actually a loss for them. So they had this revaluation loss of about 22 billion, which dragged overall performance down significantly. So Q4 was basically a loss, which is not as good as we actually expected.
It's interesting. Who else came out? GTB, Zenith. I think Q4 for a number of the banks, it wasn't as amazing for a number of them. Yeah, some of them didn't have that spectacular performances in Q4.
Yeah. So I think Zenith struggling. GT struggling.
Yeah,
Zenith was a bit better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then I think Assets was better across board. So but basically the numbers for Assets needs to be looked more critically.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of non-off one-item gains that are not really consistent.
Right.
So they had a revaluation. They had this FX equity translation gain of about 35 billion. So if you strip out that off year, that actually shows you the full numbers and how they look at.
Right.
Take out revaluation gains and a lot of that, the number might not be, but based on what they reported, it was actually better than the other banks.
All right. Now, before we go on, we have a few messages
on
your questions. So, like Benga Komu says, how do we fund our budget if there's likelihood of oil prices going lower? And are those concerned in Nigeria watching developments in oil prices?
Thank you for that, Benga. Okay, go ahead.
Yinka here says, the man, I will not use the word he used, who sponsored the bill was he asked how well the scheme currently performs, because in my opinion, it's a scam.
Yinka, you
Ibrahim here says, by the time America helps replace Maduro and take over Venezuela's oil, they will become a de facto member of OPEC.
All right. Okay.
And then Eddie here says, hi, NHF isn't new at all. The issue is compliance, as the fund hasn't been easily accessible over the years. It targets mortgages at 6%, 15 million for all Nigerians.
I want my. Okay, let's go back. Thank you for that, Eddie. Thanks for all your message. Let's go back to Benga's question. How else will you fund your budget if you're if you're earning a salary and your salary is reduced and you need to pay for something? Where will you get the money?
You call on GT to fund you.
You borrow the money now.
So basically, so we've said before now that we actually predicted what the oil price is actually going to be for the year and what the expected budget this is. So based on the budget they passed, that is waiting for presidential assent, is actually that they sent to the House that is waiting for debates and the like of that. So what they are looking at is a deficit of about 1.8 trillion.
Right.
But we think they are likely to exceed that to go to about 2.8 trillion.
Oh,
yeah.
You think the deficit to increase.
Is actually going to increase. But what they are so the projections and the revenue drivers they are looking at is actually not in line. They are quite aggressive. So they are looking at crude oil price at around doing about 2.3 million barrels per day.
Right.
And they're also looking at the crude oil price. They're also looking at is actually not something that is likely attainable. So you're currently seeing it around 60, 64.
Right.
And they are looking at it around 70, I guess, based on what they propose. So we think that's not likely to fly. So if you look at other lines in the income also, revenue also, that's the one that is away from oil. The tax they are looking at, also the other revenue they're also looking at, the sale of also some assets. We think all of that is not likely to come up this year. So we think it's actually not going to be what they expect.
So where we get the money from? We borrow more.
We borrow more. So basically they will come into the market to borrow more. So we're looking at that when budget is passed. So maybe around July, August, that's likely to happen.
And keep in mind, I believe our debt service to revenue, the amount of money we pay against the amount of money we pay for our loans against what we bring in is what 60%.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's for existing loans that are already out there. Yeah. And now you want to add more again on top of that. So the picture is not very clear. It's not that very clear. Excuse me. The picture is not very pretty.
Doesn't look very pleasant at all.
Not at all.
But a few more comments here. Henry Manuel asks or says that bill was debated in the National Assembly. It was passed first by the House Reps before the Senate passed it in November. I remember asking a colleague why the Senator Ahmed Lawan, who sponsored it, was not a target by the business community during the campaign. So that's another question.
Right.
What was
Look,
happening
I don't know. I missed this thing, but Henry Manuel, thank you for that. I mean, the thing is, I think when they debate these things, also when they put them out in the newspapers, they also should have public hearings for these bills as well.
They do have public hearings.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, people don't respond to them as they should.
I didn't see this one. Maybe I missed it, but that's why we have these messages. Thank you, Henry Manuel. I missed that one. What else do we have?
Kende has, do our legislators even know anything about the housing policy? Introducing additional taxes on the already tight income of Nigerians is just evil.
Thank you for that, Kane. How much? Oh, okay. So you're giving me the hand signals.
Yes,
we're rounding. Okay, fine.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, back to Kane. Sorry, Kingsley's question. Can you predict? Can you predict when the market is going to close today?
Yeah. So no, you can't tell what the market will close today. But
right.
Basically, we still see a lot of fundamental stocks out there that you could actually take off. We see a lot of people looking at GT, where GT prices, looking at where Danksem is, looking at where Zenith is. We still think there's a lot of opportunity that it could actually still pick up in some of those stocks.
All right.
So we have a buy rating on GTs, Zenith, UBA for now. Then also Danksem.
Okay.
So we think it's actually still a good stock.
All right. Please remember, all the advice you hear on this show, please consult your broker first, like an ARM before making any purchases. Segun of ARM, thank you so much for joining us today, and we appreciate all your messages as usual.
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we cannot get to all of them, but I'm sure if there are any questions, then Rotus will get back to them tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you for being a part of Business Express.
All right.
We'll be back tomorrow at 6:45 for Business Express, for Smooth Breakfast still continues. Freshly Pressed is coming up at 7:30, where we analyze the newspaper headlines and news stories